either with your palms facing down for some extra grounding, or maybe up for a little pick-me-up. So choosing what is needed for you this morning. It's a good time to do a little check-in as well. How's the body? How's the mind? Finding some softness in the fingers, the elbows, the shoulders. Aligning the head over the heart over the pelvis. With every inhale, lengthening the spine. With every exhale, melting into your pillow or the ground. Feel free to do a nice 4-count inhale, 4-count exhale, if that is something that is appealing to you. You could even lengthen it to a 5-count or 6-count. And then while keeping the eyes closed, start drawing some circles with the upper body. Maybe starting out nice and slow here, checking in with the hips and the knees and the ankles. How are the shoulders? Those circles can be big or small, or you can do a little bit of both. And then let's switch directions. And slowly coming back to center. We're going to just bring that right hand behind us on the ground. Either on the ground, maybe the back of the pillow, maybe a block if that makes it more accessible. And then your left hand comes to your right leg, resting wherever it feels good. And then slowly start looking over the right shoulder towards the back. Maybe you're tugging your chin here, so gently looking down towards the ground. And then every inhale lengthens the spine. Every exhale twists a little bit deeper. Check on those left fingers, making sure they are not cramping into your leg, but they are gently resting on that leg. Maybe closing the eyes. And then slowly coming back through center. Setting up on the other side. So left hand to the back, right hand to that left leg. Gently looking over the left shoulder towards the back, maybe tugging your chin here. And then again, your inhale lengthens the spine, and your exhale twists you a little bit deeper. Feel free to close the eyes if that feels good. And then slowly coming back to center. Extend the arms up over your head with the palms facing forward. See if you can gently widen and drop the shoulders so you create a little bit of space between the arms and the ears. And then we're moving into our wrist strengthener. So fingertips to the fleshy part of the palm. Most of you know what is happening. We are plotting for ourselves and each other here. See if you can speed this movement up a little bit. And let's speed it up one more time. One hand is probably lagging behind. For me, it's always the left. That's where I realize, yes, I am right hand dominant. Okay, let's speed it up one more time. I know I said one more, but one more. And then let the fingers rain down slowly. Maybe close your eyes, bring the hands into the lap. Beautiful. Next inhale brings the arms back up. Let's interlace the fingers and then flip the palms up towards the sky. You might already feel a nice stretch in the wrists and the forearms. Squeezing the head with your arms. So really bring the arms as close in towards your head while the shoulders are dropping back and down. So there's a lot going on here. The next exhale guides the hands forward, rounding in the spine, chin to chest. Inhale back up. Maybe the arms move all the way behind your ears. Exhale round. And we'll move between the two. The palms continuously push away from you. Feel free to close the eyes here. And then next time your arms are up, you can gently bring the palms back to facing down. Maybe bring the palms together, bring the hands to heart center. Interlace the fingers here. And then have the elbows at the height of the shoulders. And gently glue the forearms together all the way to your elbows. And just start rotating your wrists here. And you're keeping that connection in the forearms, creating this rubbing sensation. Almost like you're creating heat for yourself here. And then start going the other way around. Perfect. Slowly release the hands, bring them down to your sides. And then walk them behind you on the ground with the fingertips pointing towards the back. And you can gently start squeezing the shoulder blades here, pushing the chest out. Imagine there's a string coming out of your sternum, out of your chest, pushing, pulling you up towards the sky. Maybe start looking up as well. And we will do a couple lion's breath. So inhale through the nose, and then exhale will be through the mouth, with the mouth wide open and tongue out. Let's do two more. Beautiful. Make your way onto all four. If you can close your eyes during that transition. And we will just slowly move the pillow or whatever you have out of your way. And just start moving through a cat and cow flow here. You can go at your own pace. But I encourage you to go nice and slow, almost like you're really trying to feel into those transitions in your vertebrae. So you're feeling how you're moving from one to the other, not just looking forward to arriving in the end poses, but realizing that the journey in between the two is just as important, if not more important, than actually arriving at your destination. As usual, feel free to close your eyes here. If there's any other movement that feels good to you and you want to take it, feel free to do so. Maybe some circles or little waves, either from front to back or side to side. Really, whatever feels good to your body here. If you are doing circular movements, let's switch direction. And then we will all come back to center. Walk the hands forward just about a few inches. Spread the fingers out nice and wide like little sunbeams, pushing each and every knuckle into the ground. And then tuck the toes under. With your inhale, lift the knees off the ground so they are hovering just above the ground, keeping them nice and bent. Imagine there's just a thin piece of paper between your knees and the mat. So the lower down the knees are, the more activating and challenging this will be. So if you need a little bit extra support, lift the legs up a little bit higher. Make sure you're still breathing here. We're not holding the breath, we're just holding the movement. Next exhale, lift the hips up, coming into a downward dog. Might be your first downward dog of the day, so let's take some time here. Maybe walk it out. Maybe little twists from side to side. What does your body need? Where are the extra tight spots? Can you just check in with yourself? Check in with those tight spots. Just see how everything is feeling. If you maybe want to come into stillness for the last 5 breaths, feel free to do that. Dropping the head, dropping the chest, heels moving towards the ground. Hips are the highest point of your body. You're creating this really steep mountain, steep slopes on both sides. Maybe inhale deeply through the nose and then do an audible exhale through your mouth. Letting it all go, whatever it is you want to start letting go of. Let's do one more like that. Next inhale brings you up high onto the tippy toes. Exhale, bend the knees slightly, and then take a little walk to the front of the mat. So taking a good amount of steps, which is almost always more difficult than just taking a few. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Arms come up over your head. Look up in between the hands. Palms facing inwards. Dropping the shoulders. This is already a little back bend, so maybe engage the core, tuck the tail under, just to support the lower back here. If you want to go a little bit further, you can gently push the hips forward. Next exhale, we will swan dive down to the ground. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold. Step the right foot to the back of the mat. Drop the right knee down, releasing the back toes. Coming up onto your fingertips or the blocks here. So you're keeping the connection to the ground. That back knee can slide out further if you want a deeper opening in the right hip. And then we're just melting into the left knee, dropping the right hip down towards the ground, gently lifting the chest and the gaze. And then the next inhale brings the arms up either over your head or to heart center. So yogi's choice here. That left knee is still sinking deep, right hip is still dropping. And can that left hip maybe pull gently back? Next exhale brings both hands back down. Straighten that left leg, push the hips back. The left toes can lift up towards the ceiling here. And the left hip is still pushing back. Let's bring the hands in slightly so the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And then let yourself melt here. You can be on your fingertips, you can be on your palms. We're bending the elbows to just give us a little bit more leverage to come down. Making sure the head is nice in a neutral position, so you're not pushing it back or too much down. With the next inhale, come halfway up, so straightening the arms. And then we're going to bring that right hand to the outside of the left leg and move over to the left as far as it works for you. So you will feel an increased stretch in the right side of the body. Can that right hip gently pull back? Just looking down towards your left hand. And then slowly coming back to center. Bend the left knee, pushing the palms into the ground or your blocks. Plank the back leg. Let's step that left foot to the back of the mat, coming into a high plank here. You can always come into a supported high plank with the knees down on the ground. And then gently widening the shoulders. Eyes of the elbows are pointing forward. You will see how that actually opens the shoulders a little bit more. And then the crown of the head is pointing forward, which will allow the neck to be nice and long on all sides. Pushing yourself away from the mat, feeling that extra rounding in the upper back. And then the next exhale lowers us all the way down to the ground. Can you go slower than you want to? Inhale for a baby cobra. And let's all come only into the baby cobra or swings. If you're in that baby cobra, push the tops of the feet into the mat. And then we will gently hover the hands above the ground. So really using the strength of the body. If you're in swings, stay in swings and just gently push into the forearms. Wherever you are, can the shoulders gently drop back and down, squeezing those shoulder blades together. looking about a foot in front of the mat to the ground. Next exhale lowers you all the way back down. Tuck the toes under. Inhale to come through your high plank. Exhale, downward dog. And we're here for 5 breaths. Deciding how you want to spend your time in your downward dog. Next inhale, come up high onto the tippy toes. Exhale, bend the knees slightly, and then walk, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, arms up over your head, look up. Maybe coming into that back bend. But even being here with the arms just up and looking up, you're already in a back bend. So you don't have to go more or further than that. Next exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step that left foot to the back of the mat. Drop the left knee, release the back toes. And then again, we're coming up either onto your blocks or your fingertips, or you could be on your blocks, on your fingertips. Because the more space you have here, the more you can actually sink down with that left hip and open the chest simultaneously while keeping that connection to the ground. So can that left hip gently melt down here? Can you lift the chest and the gaze just a little bit more to go forward? And the next inhale brings the arms up over your head or to heart center. Dropping the shoulders. Still dropping with that left hip. And the right hip is gently pulling back, creating that energetic movement between the 2 hips. Oh, I should say the 2 sides of the hips. I don't think you have 2 hips. Next exhale brings both hands down, straighten the right leg, pushing the hips back, lifting the right toes up towards the ceiling. You can walk the hands in to bring the wrists underneath the shoulders. Feel free to widen the stance if that feels good. And then we will slowly bend the elbows to melt the upper body down towards that right leg. So you're really trying to center your chest on top of that right leg and then melt down to it. Maybe the right hip is gently pulling back here. Next inhale, half lift. Bring that left hand over to the right and then walk the hands over to the right as much as possible. That left hip is gently pulling back. So you will feel that that left hip pushing back and actually increases the stretch in the left side of the body. Looking down towards your right hand. And then slowly walk yourself back forward, framing that right foot, bend into the right knee, sliding it in if you need to. Push the palms into the ground or the blocks, planking the back leg. And then step the right foot to the back of the mat, coming back into your high plank. We're here for 5 breaths. Next exhale will lower you down. And again, can you go slower than you want to? Almost like you're moving through slow motion. It's totally okay if you're just dropping down. Then slowly release the toes. This time we're going to interlace the fingers behind our back. Tops of the feet really grounding down. Maybe you can feel the kneecaps lifting, so your quads activating. Palms can be together, or you can have that little loose grip, lifting the face or the gaze up a little bit. And then start pulling your hands, not just back, but also up. So you will feel your shoulders squeezing, you will feel your chest lifting. And again, maybe looking about a foot in front of the mat to the ground, which will nicely lengthen the back of your neck. And then if you want to, you can stay here, or you could start lifting your legs as well, keeping your feet as close together as possible, gently squeezing your glutes, still lifting those hands off your bum. Next exhale, melt everything down. Make a pillow with your hands, letting your forehead or your cheek rest on your hands. Let the heels fall out to the sides, maybe rock the hips from side to side. Breathing into your lower back. And then slowly lifting your head back up. Bring your arms out to your side so they're parallel to the body. Pushing the palms into the mat. Bring the feet close together again, tops of the feet pushing into the mat. And then keep planting those palms while you're lifting your chest, lifting the gaze, still remaining long in the back of the neck. And then maybe lifting the legs, but the palms are still pushing into the mat. Make sure you're not shortening or holding your breath here. And then option 1 to stay here, or you could lift the arms, keeping the palms facing down. Next exhale, come all the way down. Make a pillow, forehead or cheek down. If it's your cheek, resting the other cheek this time. Heels fall out to the side. Maybe rock the hips from side to side. Then we'll come into a little sleeping crocodile version. So you're going to lift the head up a little bit. You're going to switch the hands. So whichever hand was at the bottom is on top now. And then you're going to start walking your feet out as far as you can to the sides. And then the toes will point outside, the heels will point inwards. So you're basically flexing the toes, exactly. So the heels are nicely dropping towards the ground. Feel free to pull the belly out forward a little bit. And then we will let the chin come down towards your hands. This might be pretty intense, it might not be a lot. Additionally, if you feel your body is settling into the pose, you're creating a little bit more space, feel free to spread the legs out further. This might be a big stretch in the lower back and the outer thighs and hips. And just breathing into the tight spots. Feel free to close the eyes here. We'll be here for about 10 breaths. And then slowly start lifting your head, come up onto the toes, so you're kind of tugging the toes under. And then we will just slowly move the knees in, move the feet in, kind of like as if you're heel toeing, but you're like heel kneeling. All the way back in. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And then with the next inhale, toes tucked under, push yourself up into your high plank. Exhale, downward dog. Maybe bring the feet a little bit further than you normally would. Up to mat width apart if that feels good. Really pushing into your left palm. Come onto the right fingertips. So the right palm lifts off the mat. Just the fingertips are pushing down. Kind of those little cupcake fingers we sometimes do. And then looking underneath the left shoulder, look underneath the left armpit, up to the left. Option 1 to stay here, or you can bring that right hand to your left leg, your left knee, your left ankle, wherever it can land. And then you can use that grip to help you twist further to the left. Pushing into both heels. Even if they are not touching the ground, you're just pushing the heels towards the ground. Belly is still melting while twisting to the left. Where can you soften? Where can you let go? And then slowly bringing that right hand back to the mat if it left. That right palm will push into the mat, equal out here. And then come up onto your left fingertips. So your cupcake fingers on the left. Looking underneath the right shoulder, underneath the right armpit, towards the right. So really lifting the left palm. Fingertips are pushing into the mat. Either staying here or bringing that left hand to your right thigh, knee, or ankle. Twisting yourself to the right here. Looking underneath the right armpit. And then slowly bringing that left hand back to the front. Move the hips a little bit from side to side. And then let's gently drop the knees down and come into a child's pose. Maybe bringing the knees together for this one. But again, if you would like to come into wide-legged child's pose, feel free to do that. Let's bring the arms out in front. Top of your forehead is resting on the ground. If it can't get to the ground, you can always bring the ground closer to you with a pillow or a block. And then can you bring your palms together and then bend at the elbows, bringing your hands towards your head, kind of like the back of your head, almost your neck. Maybe your thumbs are touching your upper back here or your spine. Breathing into your lower back, wherever you are. Hips are melting down towards your heels. Belly and chest are melting towards your legs or the ground. And then slowly bringing the hands back to the mat. pushing into the palms. Pull yourself all the way forward. Dropping the hips down here. Maybe pushing into the tops of the feet, coming into an upward facing dog. Shoulders gently push back and down. If having the knees lifted isn't working for your body, just let the knees stay on the ground. Remembering that this is your practice, this is your time. Whatever works does, and whatever doesn't. And then from here, while pushing into the tops of the feet, you can slowly start lifting the knees, lifting the hips, roll over the toes back into a downward dog. Next inhale, we'll lift the right leg up towards the sky. Bend the right knee here, stack the hips. So the right knee is pointing up towards the sky and the right heel is dropping down towards your butt. Gently pushing into the right hand and right shoulder a little bit extra to make up for that imbalance. So you will feel that you're squaring your upper body a little bit more. That left heel is still pushing down towards the ground. Next inhale, straightens that right leg. Exhale, step it through in between the hands. Left foot comes down at an angle. So the outer edge of that back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. It's a nice 90 degrees. Inhale, windmill open into your warrior two. So deep bend into the right knee. Right toes pointing to the front of the mat. Left foot, again, outer edge is parallel to the back of the mat. You can have a nice wide stance. Dropping the shoulders, looking towards your right index or middle finger. Can you gently lift the toes and then push them back down? And then we'll do little circles with the hips here. I know. I really like that look, Deborah. She's like, Mia's lost it. It's a nice way to lubricate the hips. Now let's go the other way around. This is a really small movement. And then coming back to stillness, melting deep into the right knee. Inhale, the right palm flips. Exhale, reverse. Looking up towards that right hand. The left hand can stay as is, or maybe bring it to your lower back if that feels good. Fingers might even be resting on your right outer thigh. Can you melt a little bit deeper into the right knee? Can you soften the toes so they're not cramping into the mat? And then keeping that little back bend. Next inhale, straightens the front leg. Push the hips back. And then bring your right hand wherever it lands here. Maybe it's just below the knee. Maybe it's at the ankle, anywhere in between. Maybe you use a block on the inside of that right foot. And then that left hand can come to your left hip. You will gently push the left hip back, push the left shoulder back, pushing into the outer edges of both feet. And then maybe that left arm moves up towards the sky. Can that right shoulder gently stay tucked in so it's not creeping up towards your neck? And then really imagine you're trying to bring your whole upper body, the back of it, against an imaginary wall. So the left shoulder pushes back. We often have that need to have the hand as far down towards the ankle as possible here. But there is, again, no extra points for anything you do here. So if you feel like maybe you want it to be a little bit up higher, maybe just below the knee, it might actually help you with pushing the left shoulder back and pushing it gently against that imaginary wall. And then gently bend into the right knee. Come back into your warrior two. Melt deep. Looking towards your right index or middle finger. Next exhale, both arms come down. Frame that right foot, lift the left heel, step the right foot to the back of the mat, coming into a high plank. You can move all the way through your belly cobra or an optional chaturanga if you want to. Either way, we will all meet back up in a downward dog, and we're here for 5 breaths. Next inhale, lift the left leg up this time. Bend the left knee, stack the hips. So left knee pointing up towards the sky, left heel pushes down. And then can you let that left shoulder drop down a little bit extra? The right heel is dropping down towards the ground. And the left knee keeps trying to point up higher. The left heel keeps trying to get closer towards your butt. Next inhale, straightens the left leg. Exhale, step it through in between the hands. Right foot comes down at that 90-degree angle. And then slowly windmill open into your warrior two. So sinking deep into that left knee this time. Make sure that left knee is pointing outwards, not collapsing inwards. Looking towards your left index and middle finger. Pushing into the outer edges of the feet. Melt a little bit deeper into the left knee. And then we're doing our little hip circles here. Just starting out one way. And then go the other way around. It's actually really good for your pelvic health. And it's also kind of fun once you let go of overthinking it. And coming back to center, melt deep. Inhale, flips the left palm. Exhale, reverse. Where do you want that right hand to be? Can be on your lower back, could be on that left thigh, could be up over on that back leg. And then keeping that back bend in the upper body. Start straightening that front leg, push the hips back. Let that left hand land wherever it lands. Right hand can come to your right hip here, gently pushing the right shoulder back, pushing the right hip back, still pushing into the outer edges of both feet. Maybe looking up or to the horizon or down towards that left foot. And then what do you want to do with your right hand? Is it going to come up towards the sky? Is it going to stay on that hip? Can you check on the left shoulder, making sure it's gently pulling away from your neck, nicely tugging in, squeezing the right glute here. And then gently start bending into that left knee again. Coming back into your warrior two. Melt deep. Maybe tugging the belly gently in, aligning the shoulders over the hips. And with the next exhale, both hands come down, framing that left foot. Lift the right heel, step the right foot to the front of the mat, just to keep you on your toes. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, melt. And now really let yourself melt here. Maybe grabbing your opposite elbows, maybe holding onto your big toes with your peace fingers, or bringing the palms underneath your feet from the front. So choosing your favorite version of your forward fold here. Wherever you end up going, letting the head hang down heavy. No tension in the back of your neck. If you have the palms underneath your feet, maybe slowly rock back and forth from your heels to your toes, giving your palms a little massage. If you want to, you could even lift one heel up, lift the other heel up, maybe lift both heels up and just balance on your palms. Something to play with. Again, where can you let go? Your legs can be as bent or as straight as it feels appropriate for your body. And then slowly releasing whatever binds you have. Have the fingertips touch the ground, bend the knees, drop the hips, and then with the next inhale, sweep the arms up, coming into a chair pose. Make sure you can see all 10 toes in front of the knees. And then bring the hands to heart center. Sink a little bit deeper with the hips. And then with the next exhale, we're going to start twisting to the right. And then if you can, bring that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Use that connection to help you twist a little bit deeper. So you can really just use that as leverage to twist the body to the right. Check on the knees, making sure that the left one hasn't popped out to the front. The knees are still parallel to each other. Gently pushing the shoulders away from your neck, creating a lot of space here. Either looking up towards the right elbow or down towards your feet. Sink a little bit lower with the hips. And then we will move through center all the way over to the other side. Same deal here. Use the arms to help you twist. Sink a little bit lower with the hips. Check on the knees, making sure the right knee hasn't popped out to the front. And then the inhale brings you back to center, but stay low with the hips. Lift the chest up as much as you can, but lower the hips. Really feel that fire. I know, I feel it too. And then we will slowly come all the way down. Feel free to lift the heels up, slowly sit down on the mat. Or you can just plop down, whichever way you need to get there. That was difficult. I'm going to extend the left leg out long. Bring that right foot in. Anywhere between that left knee and the pelvis here, or the hip crease. That left heel is pushing down into the ground and the toes are flexing towards you. We will slowly start twisting to the right. Right hand behind you on the ground, left hand to the outside of that right knee. And then use that connection to twist you a little bit further to the right, looking over the right shoulder. And then option one is to stay here. Or you could slowly start bringing that right arm up towards the sky and over towards your left leg. If you go that way, make sure the right shoulder actually stays open. So we don't go down like this, we stay open like that. If you can find that connection to the foot, but only if you're able to keep that shoulder pushing up. So we're not moving into that forward fold, we're moving into that side opening. This one always feels like it's going to crack me open, but it feels so good when I come out of it. And speaking of, the next exhale will slowly let us come out. Do what you need to do. I'm gonna extend the right leg out long, bring that left foot in. Set up on this side. Right heel pushing down, right toes flexed. Lengthen the spine. Bring that right hand to the outside of the left leg, left hand behind you on the ground. Moving into that twist first. Maybe looking over the left shoulder. And then again, option 1, stay here. Option 2, let that left arm move up towards the sky, keeping that left shoulder pushing back. Let that hand move towards your right toes. Maybe you're finding the toes, maybe you're up here. As long as that left shoulder can stay open and you feel that opening in the left side. Next exhale, slowly come out of it. I like gently leaning forward to come out. Bring that right foot in, bring the bottoms of the feet together. And then bring the feet slightly further out, so you have that diamond shape in between the legs, so a little bit further than just normal bound angle. And then just let the hands walk forward here. Maybe you're holding on to the ankles or the toes. Maybe your forearms come down. If your forearms are on the ground, can you have the palms face up? With a little bit more of an opening in the shoulders. And also there is that emotional opening to the capacity to receive and give. Head is hanging down softly. Maybe it's resting between your feet. So there's the rounding in your upper back here is totally fine. Just let yourself melt. And then very, very slowly, we're going to pull the upper body all the way back up. Bring the hands behind you on the ground. You can keep the legs as they are. You can keep the blocks underneath the knees as well, if that's where they are. And then we're going to slowly lower down onto our forearms, pushing into the forearms and the elbows, and kind of come into a modified fish pose here. So you're going to gently push into the elbows. You will feel how that lifts the chest up, letting the gaze go up towards the sky, or you can gently drop the head down, looking towards the back. Wherever you decide to be, feel that opening in the heart space. If your head is dropped, gently bring it back to the neutral position And then we will lower all the way down onto our back. So just slide the arms out. Let the arms come out to your sides with the palms facing up. Then extending one leg out long, extending the other leg out long. We are moving into our Shavasana. Closing the eyes if you haven't already. And then if you're feeling any discomfort in your lower back, just let the feet flare out a little bit wider, toes fall out to the sides, and give the body some time to adjust. Give the body some time to melt here. And from here, slowly start wiggling the fingers and the toes. Let the movement spread out into your arms and your legs. Bring your legs together. Bring your arms over your head on the ground, giving yourself a big, big stretch like you just woke up from a little nap. Maybe grabbing one wrist to move into a little side stretch and then the other. Just a nice little good morning. And then bringing the knees into the chest when you're ready. Hug them in tightly. Maybe bring your forehead towards your knees, putting yourself into this teeny tiny little package. Breathing into the tightness. So you're physically restricting your lung capacity and you're trying to break through it. And then slowly letting go of the knees and roll onto your right side. With the eyes closed, just let your head rest on your right hand or your right arm. Left hand is just here to support you. And then from here, using the strength of your arms, bring yourself up into a seat. Keeping the eyes closed for now, bringing the hands to heart center when you arrive. Gently drop your head down. Maybe your chin moves towards your chest. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be kind. Namaste. Thanks for joining me today.